Woo! It's the Idobi Radio. That's TS.
And that's Sasha.
And we are live-ish on Idobi Radio per the usual. It is a big travel/holiday week, but we cannot miss our time with you. We must be together giving you weed things every single Monday, or else the world just like turns off of its axis. The world is only right when the nerds are providing that good weed content, you know?
Yeah, this is true. At least our world turns upside down, topsy-turvy.
Yeah, I can't live.
You got to give the people what they want.
You always say that. Follow us everywhere. Find us everywhere. Cool Nerd Weed Show. Well, probably not Twitter, because that place is a cesspool. We haven't joined Blue Sky yet, but we probably will.
We are.
Have we? Oh, yeah, that's right. You're on everything. What am I saying? I haven't joined. Are you on it?
Not personally, but the show is.
Nice. Well, sweet James. I am not personally on Blue Sky either, but I shall be. And what's the show? Blue Sky.
Cool Nerd Weed Show.
Sweet. So find us, Cool Nerd Weed Show, on Blue Sky, I guess, and also Instagram, and also Idobi. Always look for us on Idobi Radio's everything, including their YouTube. We are also on YouTube, Cool Nerd Weed Show. Every single thing, 100 years, Cool Nerd Weed Show. I was like going through my emails. I think I told you this last week during the election broadcast, but I found our first ever email to Eddie and Fish. In 2018 is when we got the show on Idobi Radio. And Eddie asked us probably about 65 times to send us a bio and pictures. And our stoner asses were like, ooh. But like after like a couple times with Fish helping us with audio, with us, getting it together. I think I was drawing on Paxil at that time, so my brain wasn't completely in it. But we like immediately like stepped up into it and just like haven't missed a week in 7 years, maybe 2 or 3 here and there. It's crazy.
We haven't turned back. Eddie wanted like 8 episodes, and we've given him 800.
Yeah, literally. That's like that's the best part of the story is that Eddie was like, let's see about 8 episodes and where it goes.
We're like officially squatting in the Idobi studio. Yeah. We'll never leave. We're never leaving.
You can never take us out. Ever. We are obsessed. We will always be there. It's our favorite place to be. And Idobi is a wonderful place for everything. You can hear my mouth noises. You can hear a ton of podcasts on Idobi, and the Idobi Radio app is like fucking lit. So download that. It's free, and you get a lot of shit. We're up on all the news and reviews, and the new music is fucking bananas. So that is really what makes us tick and what makes us keep going. And today we will probably call this show Shit Sandwich. I love a shit sandwich. I told Eddie that. I was like, I will eat a shit sandwich as my last meal in any fucking death row, because I'm very easily hooked. Like if you tell me something good and then you tell me like a bad thing and then you tell me a good thing, my brain is just lit up in a better way to receive the information if I get good information first.
I always say it's a big shit sandwich, but if we all take little bites, it won't be as bad. That's true. You have a little bite of anything. We share in the shit sandwich.
Yeah.
Here's your bite.
Thank you. I don't put it to the side and eat it later. But I really do. I really do believe that. And so today, I believe that it is a good way to give out information. So we are going to try and keep our PMA as good as we possibly can. And we were just talking right before the show about micro dosing mushies. And we've talked about this before, but with the new things on the recent states bills, like Massachusetts almost passed psilocybins, and mushrooms are very, very in the populars and in the now. And they're being sold like in a lot of places legally. So TS and I are aficionados on the microdosed. Well, I wouldn't say that actually, but we do love the microdose, and we've made homemade chocolates and homemade capsules and little things to kind of keep our brains tuned up a little bit. That's also a TS-ism. It's just a little tune up when you're taking a microdose. So we want to give you a little guide.
Just tinkering with the brain a little bit. It's scientists and doctors are saying just a little bit might be good for you, your mental health. So we want to provide some a safe guide to actually consuming magic mushrooms or psilocybin.
You'll see names like Golden Teacher and Penis Envy and Stargazer. Those are the ones that like I've seen the most in my travels. And then sometimes you'll see them mixed with like lion's mane and ashwagandha, and sometimes there'll be herbs to help you digest them. You'll find that a lot in some capsules and some chocolates. Yeah,
I found that some of those other herbs that helped with digestion were actually good for settling the stomach. Most of the time we have had raw mushrooms. We've had B+, Golden Teachers. A lot of people are coming into the shop asking for Penis Envies. Those are supposed to be the most very strong, most potent magic mushrooms out there. What else we have? We've had the tsunamis, and there's some newer strains that I think are being crossbred. I don't really know how that works. Your most common fungus out there is the Golden Teacher. So generally, if you don't know what you're getting, it's more than likely going to be a Golden Teacher.
Yeah. If it's a Penis Envy, they'll tell you that or whoever you're getting it from should tell you that, whether it's a traditional market person or a dispensary. Like, I don't know why I'm like don't know what to call what a place is that sells mushrooms, but usually they're in a dispensary.
It's more of a traditional dispensary setting. Possibly,
yeah.
I think Oakland might have more of those safe sort of consumption shops.
Yeah. So, you'll like ask questions from whoever you're getting them from. If they don't know, that's okay too. It's not as like down to a science as weed is yet in terms of like naming and whoever you're getting your mushrooms from, knowing the names. But certainly always, keep your eye out for trends and things that you've seen multiple places so you can figure out what you like and what you don't like. And I just wanted to talk about like quick little names and stuff like that. It's really becoming a very, very popular way to tune up and make your brain kind of feel a little bit better, but you don't have to go on a full trip in order to feel better. You don't have to have like a ayahuasca breakthrough where you've seen God and the walls are moving. That's fun, but not functional. And microdosing mushrooms can actually be really functional.
Magic mushrooms have been consumed for 1,000 years by the indigenous people worldwide for medicine and ceremonial use. Historians have discovered cave paintings from like 9,000 BC depicting mushrooms in North Africa and Europe and Northern Australia, everywhere. So, this medicine has been around for forever and ever. Who was the first person or animal that actually ate psilocybin mushroom and figured out what was going on? Now, there's a lot of different theories about this, that, some sort of primitive man stumbled, or animal, maybe like in the evolutionary scale, like one of our ancestors stumbled across these mushrooms, ate them, and then that started the process of more of an evolutionary thinking man's process. Does that make any sense?
He ate a mushroom and he was like, "Ooh, the wheel."
The wheel, yeah. Fire.
Yeah, he ate a mushroom. He was like, fire.
I've got this idea. I need to get things from one place to another, and maybe this round thing would help.
I mean, not for nothing. It makes sense to my brains. Like, there's been pictures from 10,000 BC that have been found that have had mushrooms in them. Like, they are always everywhere. For as long as you can remember, you've been seeing mushroom imagery in like history and in culture, and like it really has been around for millennia. And I do feel like it was just kind of like foraging and stumbling along when the earth decided it wanted to produce mushrooms that give you psychedelic effects, and it was, you know, a happy accident. They probably thought they were dying, but realized that the next day they were fucking making fires and rolling around on wheels and doing all of the primitive hunting and gathering that they needed to do, making lists. They definitely I wouldn't be surprised if mushrooms helped the evolution of man, because you see things differently. You think literally outside the box when you're taking mushrooms. And again, like, this is what we want to talk about today, is like, it doesn't have to be, you know, the biggest revelation that you've ever had. Mushrooms really just do help your brain organize things in the correct way. Like, I am like extremely scattered right today and this week, and I'm really looking forward to starting my microdose journey again, so is that like maybe during when the microdose hits, it's not like, whoa, you know, like feeling like mind bending, but I know for sure like the following days after, I'll be in good shape. You know, you'll just find yourself being positive and figuring shit out. It's weird. You know, you're like, that didn't work. And then like 2 days later, I'm like making the best content I've ever made in my life. So yeah, mushrooms are an ancient fucking evolutionary way to invent the wheel.
They're also good for, you know, taking care of all of those other issues. And then from there, you could finally maybe get a good night's sleep.
Yes.
Once you've worked out all of the little wrinkles in your brain and your anxiety and anything else that might be keeping you up at night.
How to dose mushrooms. Okay, so and like a microdose is a microdose. It definitely is. It is a weight. You know, it's not just like, well, like TS and we're Italian, you know, we just put a dash of this, a dash of that, like, but things like this, you want to be a baker. You want to be kind of like measured, and you want to know that things aren't willy-nilly in the things that you're taking. If you're looking to microdose, if you're looking to do some mushrooms and go on with it, then yeah, like a general idea of how much you're taking is good. But for micro, you want to have it down to a bit of a science.
Yeah, you're going to want to get a little your food prep scale out, which I've been trying to do a little bit more to be scientific about it. As far as microdosing goes, it's a lower dose. So they're saying from 100 milligrams to about 200 milligrams, maybe 3. The original capsules that I made were 0.4 to 0.5.
So that's not a microdose.
That's not a micro. I thought I was making micros, but I wasn't.
Yeah, the chocolates we made, we were like, no, those are totally 0.3 or 0.2, or we were like, they're 0.2s, and like they were not. They were like 0.5s, honestly.
They were 0.5s, yeah.
Yeah. And I think we realized the second time we were making them, we were like, oh shit, nope, we fucked up. we messed up.
The math between the chocolate and the mushrooms added was a little bit off, so they were a little higher than I had anticipated.
Yeah, still delicious.
To carry the one. Yeah, they worked and they were delicious, but not technically micros.
Not technically micros. So yeah, you know, like, because it is a little bit counterproductive. It's not going to like mess you up for life, but it is a little counterproductive to like blast your brain when you're really just trying to look for kind of a functional amount to take, because you don't really want to feel the mind altering effects and stuff. So you'd say about a 0.1 to a 0.2. To
a 0.2, yeah. Mm-hmm. Measure that out. dose it out, and then you can take more throughout the day if you need to. But start with one little microdose, see how you feel. Give it a couple hours. You should be able to go about your day.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel
on a 0.1.
Yeah, you shouldn't really feel anything much. Like anything more than like how you feel when you take like a vitamin. Like you should not feel like you're tripping, or nothing should really feel kind of fuzzy. Like you might get like I said, like a vitamin, like you might get energy, or you might want to, your brain might be moving a little bit quicker, different than you're used to, but no tripping, when you're doing a micro. And the recommendation, there's like a bunch of recommendations for, like, you gave me a plan, I think last year too, of like to microdose in terms of like after you get your capsules made, or you separate your dosage, like 5 days on, 2 days off, or whatever,
Oh yeah, you can do 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 1 day off. Just take a little break in between, a short break. But you are microdosing. You're probably going to build up a little bit of tolerance. Your body best. So just taking that one, start with the 1 milligram, work your way up to 2. Maintain that program for a true microdose brain tune-up. Yeah,
for about like 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, I would say.
This is interesting. Now they're saying, you can do your micro would be up to, or a low dose would be up to a half gram or 1 gram, which I actually like a 1 gram dose is a nice measured amount. But you are definitely going to be, especially grinding them up, you're going to feel the effects of the magic mushrooms quickly when they're ground up.
So picture it like I bought some capsules from a vendor last year. I wouldn't go back to them, but excuse me. They were like about a 0.2, maybe a little over. And no, I think they were like a 0.2. And I felt like definitely a rush of energy, and kind of a little bit like, almost like when you take like a pre-workout, not like in a bad way, but in like that, like, whoa, like everything's a little bit brighter just for a second.
Like flip on the light switch.
Yeah.
And then everything's working. Everything just, there's a little sparkle. Just as soon as it happens, that's one of the, I think that's the best way to describe it is that light switch.
Yeah, it's just, it turns on real quick and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like this is happening. And then it'll kind of dissipate and you'll be able to kind of go throughout your day. You can, like, people are taking them to be in like social situations. People are taking them to get through grief and depression. They are calling that like social dosing, which is, and you had also mentioned this, not to blow up your spot, but to start to take microdosing mushrooms in place of alcohol. Because obviously alcohol is a very social drug. I love this revolution because I do not drink well. I get sick from drinking immediately. Alcohol is literally poison to me. So the whole cannabis and mushroom social revolution, because I always had to be outside like all cold, like smoking my weed, taking my mushrooms by myself because nobody would be out there with me. But now that everything's so much more accepted, it's better for my mentals too, because the ones who can't drink are able to supplement like the social aspect of it all by taking some mushrooms, and those who want to drink and want to cut, or those who don't want to drink and cut down their drinking, magic mushrooms are really a good alternative.
Yeah, I have social anxiety, so I don't know. You might not know it, but I have some social anxiety, and I always thought that, like, having a little drink would chill you out, and lubricate the personality. But I'm I'm trying to drink less. So the fungus has been known to help with social anxiety. Like you can go out, take a small dose, put that smile will be on your face, and then you'll be a little bit more open. If you're in a social situation, you're at a party, you're out you will definitely be more open to conversation, less inside your head. Why is everybody looking at me? All that biz.
Yeah.
And just be happy and free to be yourself with a little bit of a microdose. I mean, that's how it's been for me. And also, staying away from that alcohol is much better on the constitution.
It is. It is healthier. And just remember, especially when you're microdosing, like if you don't, and we've said it a bunch, but it's worth saying again, if you don't feel anything, that's okay. Because you're taking in the psilocybin and you're taking in the benefits of the mushroom and the plant. So you don't have to up your dosage if you're just looking for the tune up, do a plan of 5 days on, 2 days off, every other day, whatever, for 2 weeks, and see how your brain feels. If you want to have a nice trippy moment, or you want to be out and about, a social dose would be around a 1, you can go 0.5 to 1, I think would be good. But if you're not experienced in psilocybin at all, then you really do want to just start to kind of get in your micro and see how that makes you feel at a certain point. That way, your body will be used to it, and your body, if you want to take more, it won't be a shock to your system, and you'll have that trippy experience, but your body won't react in a poor way. Because sometimes tummies get upset, and sometimes mushrooms give me a headache. So there is something to be said about giving your body a tolerance and stuff by microing before you venture out to a full kind of social dose.
I've never heard this term before, but they're calling a medium dose the 2 to 3 gram dose a museum dose.
A museum. Oh, that's funny.
Where you will most likely feel the psychedelic effects, but still be able to walk around and maintain a sense of who you are. But I mean,
that's a good way to call it.
This is true, but I honestly, for most people, 2 to 3 grams is probably a pretty hefty dose.
Yeah.
If I take more than that, I mean, I'm really up and energetic. I want to dance. I want to hike.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. We've experienced I've experienced multiple levels. I've really not had a mushroom experience where I was laid out and was I can't move, or I feel uncomfortable with the high. Sometimes maybe a little nauseated, but usually it is kind of let me get up, let me walk around. And also very, very big, what you have mentioned too, whether it's medium, whether it's a large dose, always getting some air. Fresh air is so good. And obviously taking microdosing, you can do in any setting because you're not about to feel those psychoactive effects. That's really just for your own health. A medium museum dose to or a social dose to a museum dose, I feel is kind of still, your setting you need to know your setting, but you won't be completely fucked up if you get a little bout of social anxiety. That's what the mushrooms are there for. You can reroute it, but let's just say you can't. You won't be stuck in a whatever. Sometimes I'll take a full dose of mushrooms and I'll just be I can't, I can't. I just can't. I'll get stuck, and you'll always remind me, because 100% of the time I'm doing mushrooms with you, you'll always remind me put your head out the window or go take a walk or just literally breathe in fresh air. It is crazy how much that helps. That's not just a mental thing. It's a physical, I breathe in the air and I'm oh, I feel fucking great.
Yes. Set and setting. So if you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed, switch up your setting, go breathe in that fresh air.
Yes.
Take a little walk if you're okay to, but just change up that setting real quick and breathe deep, and all of that anxiety will pass, and you can continue on your journey.
Always, 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 when you're doing any more than a microdose, just have a grasp of your settings. And if you have never done them, just be with somebody who you trust.
Yeah, that's very important. You never trip alone. You
Never
can
trip
always.
alone.
It's good to have somebody who's experienced with you if it's your first time. It's always, good to have a buddy. There's actually people that will do psychedelic therapy with you that are experienced and can guide you in case anything goes you think is going wrong. There's professionals. Also, this is crazy. They have a whole squad of people that are trained that go to Burning Man to help people that are having bad trips.
That's great.
It is.
That's actually really, really great.
They travel with the EMTs. They've got little vests on that say I don't know, like your psychedelic helper or something.
I feel like I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that online. That's amazing because it is really fun to take mushrooms and psychedelics at concerts and in outdoor settings, but sometimes the brain gets overstimulated, and that's why. And you can't always be weighing your fucking drugs and testing and doing all the things that you need to do to have a good time. So, yeah, I think that's an amazing service. It's like the guy who helps out Snoop Dogg with people who get too high by him. Because sometimes you don't know your limits, literally, because you've never done it before. So, and it is very easy to just kind of keep going and being like, oh shit, that wasn't a good experience. And the thing about mushrooms is they are really, really great to go back to. So if you do have a bad experience, which we've all had them, even I've just done a batch of mushrooms that just didn't make me feel good, and that turned me off just physically. I don't know, whatever strain they were, maybe they were old or maybe they had mold in them. Because that's a possibility too. If you are getting your mushrooms from a traditional source that is maybe college student adjacent, then just know that just ask as many questions as you can. If it's shady, you run the risk of maybe not feeling so good. I don't know if anybody, is there any recorded cases of anybody selling poison mushrooms to anybody? What's the poison mushroom that you're never supposed to eat? I forget what it's called.
The angel of death.
Yeah, we see in movies when they're or when they're on Naked and Afraid or something, and they they forage and they're oh, I found these fucking mushrooms.
And the producer comes running out. He's like, don't eat those.
Yeah, and the guy's already doing mad bombs and seizing on the floor. I wonder if that's ever. I'm sure that's happened before. So, it's always better safe than, choking on a poison mushroom. It's not as just know that if you're getting mushrooms from a traditional market, the person you're dealing with probably doesn't want their clientele to not come back. So again, the most random thing is just I've had mushrooms that just have made me not feel good. And that's just because sometimes they're sourced from different places. But always ask questions to where you're from where you're getting them from.
Try to get the specs on each species of mushroom if it's available. Do your research. I don't know. I feel like most people that are dispensing psilocybin mushrooms are responsible.
Right. That I do too.
Maybe it's just my everything's going to be okay attitude, but I feel like anybody that has given me any psychedelics has been on. They want you to have a good time and come back. Yeah, and come back.
Yeah. Definitely. So where you're getting them is likely safe. But again, now that we know more things, you can find out more information. You can find out the name, because depending on what kind of mushroom it is, and we do have the information superhighway where we can look it up, you will change your dosage. But yeah, that's it in terms of dosing, right? I guess a full dose is 2 to 3 grams, which is very high. I mean, that's an eighth almost.
Yeah.
So if you're doing an eighth of mushroom, I haven't done that many mushrooms in quite some time. It's been a long time since I've done that many mushrooms at a time.
The first time I ever picked up some mushrooms was on the early days of the Warped Tour. I asked somebody that was on there, like, how much should I eat? Their response was, eat the whole bag. Which was,
right.
Was like an 8. And I was like, I don't know about that. I'm going to go slow.
The whole bag.
Eat the whole bag.
Man. Like, yeah, that's a surefire way to be vomiting and seeing God. But, sometimes, like, in terms of medicine, like, maybe you really need that medical breakthrough. Again, this is being studied for psychological benefits of depression. And honestly, like, the nerds cannot recommend microdosing enough for depression. And I honestly always even I was so depressed last year, and I started on my little mini microdose moment. It was probably like a month straight that were it was like 2 weeks every other day that I was taking them. And I stopped because eventually, like, my body wasn't feeling it. But lo and behold, like, just about right after, I started feeling better and productive, and like I can go forward. And it's just, like, you don't realize it. You don't realize how helpful microdosing really is. And if you want to feel that feeling, you want to be social about it, or you want to have a moment where you're playing some fucking loud music and your lava lamp is on, absolutely, that will feel great. And you will, like, it's not like doing Molly or something, like, where, like, the next day your serotonin levels are completely depleted and fucked. And, like, it's not like that with mushrooms. With mushrooms, you may have it like a little bit of a bouncy, but if you're doing microdosing, there's none of that. There's no next day depression after you have a mushroom trip at all, especially if you do it like a lemon tech. Like, if you do tea, that's a whole other way to do it that TS and I love. Another really great way to dose it out. Do some tea with your friends. That is such a good social way to hang. Like, fucking mushrooms, movies, and weed and snacks. Like, that is all I need in my life to survive.
What a beautiful thing.
I think we've given some solid advice, some things to think about, and you can be well on your way to a mushroom journey. And if you have any questions, always DM us, leave a comment, do whatever. You can email us, or like we are here to guide you through. We can be guides, like those guides are that help people trip. And always remember, fresh air will help. Don't be scared of the air. The air will hit your face, and your brain will be like, "Oh shit, let's go invent the wheel." So, like, I definitely recommend, and we wish you on a very safe and happy trip. Report back to us. Let us know how it goes. We're going to take a break, then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about not fun things. We might have to go take an Advil before we talk about this. We'll be right back.
We salute you, the United States of cannabis, under all 50 strains, one pre-roll, under bong.
The Cool Nerd Weed Show on Idobi Radio.
And we're back.
We're back.
It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show. That's TS.
And that's Sasha.
And we are live-ish on Idobi Radio. We are remote, and we shall be remote for the rest of the year. I don't want to talk about it for too long because I'll cry. I miss my best friend.
Oh, I miss you already.
Yeah, it sucks. The holidays, I have to not be around. I have to not be on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast with my fams, but then I miss my LA fams, but it's pretty much you. So, and I didn't mean to say it sucks. I love being home with my family, and I'm very grateful that I get to be home with my fams and do this remote. Like, I'm so grateful for technology that lets us do this, but like, there's nothing like being in the same room with my bestie, with my co-host. So we'll be back together soon. It's just about a month and change of this, and we literally text each other every 5 minutes. So we try to keep the momentum going in terms of friendship and co-host, and we send each other stuff every single second of the day. Just wanted to put it out there for posterity that I miss TS when when I'm out on the road.
Aww.
Remember we did that for some, I think it was a promo, and I thought it was so funny. Okay. Most of the show is like a lot of like me and TS just laughing at each other, at each other's silliness. So again, we thank you for listening, for hanging out with the Cool Nerd Weed Show for all these years and with Idobi Radio as well. So here is the shit part of the sandwich that we were talking about earlier. We are going to talk about Trump's picks for the White House. Donald Trump's picks for the White House. We talked a little bit about that last week. We talked about RFK. We'll talk a little bit, unfortunately, about him again today. However, Trump's picks for and this is what we're struggling with too. Just by the way, just to get it out of the way. Like last week during the what do you call it? The election broadcast. Every single time there was like a weed thing, like we were like, well, weed is kind of good. Like it's hard because as the words come out of my mouth, this is of course what we like. We like things to look good for weed. However, there's so many bad parts of what we're going to say. I don't want people to think we're just like cranky about it because it's like the other side or whatever. Like Matt Gaetz is a fucking convicted or almost convicted pedophile. Any of those things. Those things matter. And we will absolutely touch on those. But it is because we believe that weed reform has to come from a place of community and safety and access and harm reduction and so on and so forth. It's not from a place of making a shit ton of money. And that is where we feel like these lawmakers are coming in from. So with that said, we will talk about Matt Gaetz. God, I hate fucking saying his actual name. Like, I hate, can we call him something else? Like, but even though, no, I don't want to do that. His name is Matt Gaetz and he's a fucking bad guy, and apparently he'll be great on weed. And he was tapped for Attorney General Matt Gaetz. I'm going to throw out. I used to like this joint that I've been holding for.
I know we love and need cannabis reform in this country, but at what cost? And it seems like it's coming from the axis of evil, from Donald Trump to Matt Gaetz to RFK, Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, God.
And oh my God, you know, it's a hard pill to swallow because these are things that we want, whether they're done the right way or the way we feel are going to be done for integrity, community, and the plant is a whole nother story. So
100%.
With I just want to give my disclaimer as well.
No. I think you said it better than I did. Actually, that's why I was agreeing with you. I was about to say well said, but I didn't want to derail you because I know you were on a track. But you said it better than I did. That's 100% true. Even though it's not the way we would prefer it. Matt Gaetz is actually, when the Democrats put forward the reform bill, he was one of the only Republicans that was like down, that voted for it, right?
Yeah. It's bizarre. It's bizarre.
That's crazy.
So if Matt Gaetz actually is confirmed as the top DA of the country, then he said he's going to go easy on cannabis. And
man,
you know, a lot of people were taken by surprise by this nomination, but for cannabis stakeholders, it was a welcome choice because it kind of signals that state cannabis markets can continue to see a policy of non-interference from the federal government. And, the Biden administration planned to reschedule cannabis, and it's still like proceeding through the White House. And it's probably the only policy from the Biden administration that will continue on into the Trump administration, at least like seeing it move forward. Is Matt Gaetz going to be the one that pushes through the Safe Banking Act? And
he might be.
And
I think he might be.
Reschedules. I mean, all of these things, he could possibly potentially be an ally for the cannabis movement, but I don't think he's going to get he's already been appointed, but I don't think he's going to get confirmed.
You don't think so?
To be honest, I don't think he's got so much baggage attached to his name. Matt Gaetz has.
So does Donald Trump. he does. No, go ahead. Go on, please. Go on and say all the things that
when you put it that way. There's
no,
so
but I
much
want you to say the things that Matt Gaetz has done, please.
Let's see. He's he was on board with medical cannabis in Florida. And was probably in the pocket of True Leave as well. But there is, the alleged sex with underage women may or may not keep him from getting appointed to the U.S. Attorney General. I think it probably will. But
you think so? Because aren't they like today? Well,
maybe
I'm not
just
sure.
Being an idealist.
I feel like you are, because he had to resign.
Politicians to these high standards, and pedophilia is not a high standard.
You would think so, but not for nothing. Let's be honest. I think we've excused that behavior for a very long time from our lawmakers and presidents, and that's on both sides. And I also think that, he had to resign. He was whatever the fuck he was, and he had to resign because they were going to release the report that somebody with the Justice Department, I guess, was going to release his report, and now they don't have to. So because he's not in the government as we speak right now. By the time this airs, he might be, but he had to resign.
He had to resign from his position in government to take over the position that is investigating him as the lead of the department that's investigating him currently.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you say that out loud.
Yeah.
But here's our ally. Here is our ally in cannabis.
Ally.
Here is
it just feels so icky. I can't. The article that I was going to hit on before.
It's crawling.
The article that I was going to hit on before with the Glass House CEO, it's not coming up for me. It's behind a paywall and fuck all that. But I do want to mention the headline is just that the Glass House CEO, who is actual shit, he's calling for unity in like the Cali market and in cannabis markets in general. I think he feels exhilarated by this, by these choices and this administration. And like you said, cannabis like people who are in cannabis businesses for making monies, they are stoked to see Matt Gaetz and Donald Trump at the helm and RFK at the helm of cannabis, because that they assume, like you said, Matt Gaetz was behind the True Leave BS. They think, Glass House thinks, these multi-state operators feel, well, great, this is the equivalent of a lobbyist for me. I am going to be taken care of. My biz is going to be taken care of. Who fucking cares about the product and the quality of the product and the soul of the product? Not these fucking turds. So like, if Glass, I didn't read the article. Did you read the article of the Glass House? I started to. CEO Kyle Kazan is, thinks this is going to be a positive thing for the cannabis industry. This is how stressed out I am. Look, you have a blinker and a joint in your hand right now. This is how stressed this is making. It is making my skin crawl. So Kyle Kazan, the CEO of Glass House, actually admits that he's playing both sides of the fence, as you would if you're a CEO of a large cannabis company, because you want regulations to go in your favor. And also, Glass House produces a metric shit ton of cannabis, and if it's worked out that they could possibly ship their cannabis state all over the states if things change federally. So, like you were saying, Kyle Kazan believes that all of these
it's like having a lobbyist in your corner for the cannabis industry. And if you have those, if you are a multi-state operator and have those big dollars, then you can push for these candidates to shape the laws in your favor.
Yep. And a lot of it is, it's not just the consumer who suffers. It's so much. It's like, it's the people who work with and for these companies. It's like, it just like goes out to so much, it like branches out to so much crap that like, that's why we can't feel excited about this. Now, as the year goes on, we will probably put this disclaimer before we talk about the progresses in weed, because it's like a whole new set of like feelings. Because before, when Trump was in and Jeff Sessions was in, he was obviously very anti-cannabis and rolled back a lot of like progressions that we made. So while I'm like, oh, it won't be like a Jeff Sessions moment, we won't be every day waking up thinking more rights are going to be taken away in the cannabis world. In every other world, we'll be waking up thinking our rights are going to be taken away. And I guess that just means we're going to consume more weed. But I do like, I have a lot of concerns about what this means in term for the quality of weed in a lot of places. And if it's left to the states as it has been, but it's it's rescheduled. I feel like these people behind it doesn't ring as satisfying. It's because I feel like there's a lot of nefarious activity going on with these big businesses, and these people are for these big businesses. So it's like the cannabis becomes the 1%, and like that's not what we want. That's not going to give you a good quality cannabis market. You want to just talk about the market? Like, you want to like just talk about like a bustling weed market? Like that, to be fair, has not really been completely figured out yet. Like I don't feel like the 1% of, millionaires in cannabis have the best interests of the study of cannabis, of understanding it more, of safe access. I don't feel like they have the best interest at heart. Like, go easy on marijuana. The fuck does that mean? Like, you don't even know what you're saying. You're not going to expunge anybody. You're not going to give anybody more rights. You're not going to help anybody get a criminal record expunged, or you're not going to get anybody out of jail. You think Matt Gaetz gives a fuck about somebody who is wrongfully incriminated because of the war on drugs? He doesn't even know what that means. Literally, he doesn't even know what that means. So you can't convince me to be super stoked about this. I can say, yes, I feel a breath of relief that it will be rescheduled. That was Biden. That wasn't Trump. So that's good. But I, as the year goes on and we talk more about this, I'm going to have a hard time not being a bitch about it.
We're really going to have to see how this whole thing shakes up in 2025. I'm just not confident. The multi-state operators continue to support these shitty cannabis bills that go through that don't include any home grow, they don't include any social equity, they don't include any criminal justice reform, and those are three huge major points that the cannabis industry, as it's the true cannabis industry, feels is very important when talking about cannabis reform.
Totally. 100%. I want to keep saying that so I mean it like positively.
Yeah.
100%. I like
100.
And 100, I say that. Sometimes I say that too. Literally 100. That is our like qualm. We just want it to, because it's like, it sounds like we're never happy. It sounds like we're not happy when there's restrictions, which we're not. And it sounds like we're not happy when the things we want to have happen are happening. And that's not necessarily true. I am really grateful that some Republicans and conservatives are coming around to weed, whether it's for the wrong reasons or not. It still does benefit the public for everybody to be on board with weed. Truly, like truly, madly, deeply. I'm not, like trying to be completely lame about it, but it's just this these types of characters. I don't like applauding for them, and I don't like cheering for anything that they have done, because it's all been so rancid. So this is cool, I guess, that will be on a cool track, and obviously we'll, keep very up on it, and we'll make sure to update you on everything. But there's just that filter of ickiness that keeps on coming into my head about it all.
It's like eating a donut that's been just dipped in a little bit of slime.
Yeah, like a garbage donut.
Like just a little bit of garbage juice got on it. Yeah. Just a little garbage juice got on your donut. You're like, oh, it's good. I'll just wipe it off.
It's still a delicious donut, and yeah, it's like it hasn't. It's okay. It's new, and like that's how I feel like eating this feels. Because yeah, again, these people are bad. But we'll see what he does. He'll see what he does with weed. We'll obviously be there every step of the way. I feel like it's very difficult to articulate my feelings on this, and I'm gonna have to suss it out. And I'm grateful for everybody coming along with me, but I have complicated feelings.
Yeah, I'm so conflicted. I'm so conflicted right now.
We'll be right back.
The final Huff and Puff with TS and Sasha.
And we're back.
We're back.
It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show. That's TS.
And that's Sasha.
And we're live-ish on Idobi Radio. It's Monday, so the Cool Nerd Weed Shows are here. We have tons and tons of things that we will be talking about this year. It's clear it's going to be a very, very intense year next year in every single way, but weed is going to be moving very fast and very interestingly, so we'll have lots to say. Now, I do a big travel in these United States, and it is not legal in many, many places to have weed. It is not legal even sometimes when it's legal to be traveling with weed. It is very dicey to travel with weed, and we don't recommend doing it in any illegal way. If you must travel with weed, though, we want to give you some tips and tricks on how to be discreet. But we officially say that you shouldn't travel with weed outside of the state line.
This is true. You do so at your own risk, traveling with cannabis outside of your safe area.
Yes, outside of your state and so on and so forth. But yeah, within your state, obviously you're good. Follow your state's rules. Some states don't want you to have it outside the trunk still. Some states need it to be in the same packaging as you got it. It's all different. If you're medical, you usually have to have your medical card on you within the state. Please do not fly with weed. It is also not allowed. But again, if you must, here's kind of how to do it.
Let's see. First, research your local laws, know where you're going, where you're coming from. It's pretty easy. There's interactive maps everywhere. Normal has one. You can easily find what the local cannabis laws at your destination are. Is it
normal.org or .com?
I think it's .org. It's normal.org.
Okay.
/laws.
There you go.
So with that being said, know where you're going, know where you're coming from, and even though there is increased acceptance everywhere, I would definitely advise against traveling internationally with your cannabis. Even
oh my God, please don't travel internationally with cannabis.
Even if it's legal at your destination, I would advise against it. It is not a good idea to go through customs.
Oh God, that is my giantest fear. I have never, ever, even I am too scared to go internationally with weed. When I went to Japan, I literally took my weed containers out of my bags and I cleaned them and washed them. And I changed every single thing that I've ever had weed in to another clean thing just in case. Cause I'm terrified of international law.
You don't want any odors on you at all when traveling internationally. At all. Let's see. While you're traveling, always consume responsibly. Whether you just want to have a little fun or you're doing a little wellness maintenance dosing with your cannabis, just you might want to be discreet. If you're someplace where cannabis is illegal, you might want to use a little vape. Just be low key.
Yeah. Think about transferring containers is solid. I feel like for me, because the smell, it helps the smell immediately. But if you really want to be completely like stealth, maybe like take some edibles. That maybe you don't need any flour with you, and you just want to bring some nice gummies or even capsules. But like the mints are very discreet. You can put those pretty much anywhere, and they really do just look like tablets or vitamins. So because gummies were like really the way to go, and then all of a sudden like TSA started being like, take out your snacks. Like, the fuck you talking about taking out my snacks? Like, so like that was like a new thing. So I've been hesitant to recommend gummies, and also a lot of like gummies have like a weed leaf on them and stuff for this reason. But if you are going to travel with gummies in any way, I just always like to recommend even those RSO tabs, like they're very discreet. And they don't smell at all.
Those Emerald Bay RSO capsules are very discreet and potent. You might need something low key, keep those odors down, but you still gotta consume. You still want to consume.
Totes.
Like
you said, vaping's good too. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
like vaping. Packs, if you want to get a travel packs, I would recommend it.
Oh, so 100.
100.
Flying. A lot of people are going to be flying during the holiday season. And actually, according to TSA, security officers do not search for cannabis or other illegal drugs. But if any illegal substance is found during security screening, TSA will refer the matter to law enforcement officers, a local law enforcement officer. So with that being said, when you're passing through TSA, you should make sure that you don't have anything that's going to actually have your bag stopped and looked in. Because if you just have regular, things that'll get your bag stopped, having a knife, having weapons, having a bottle of water.
Yeah, a liquid that's over 3 ounces. Yeah, if you're just trying to get through with your vape, and your vape is in your carry-on, that'll happen. They will go through your shit and they'll throw out your vape. So yeah, for sure, that's a really good point. Make sure you have gone through the things that will get flagged when you're going through TSA.
As long as nothing gets flagged, you're going to just pass through.
You're Gucci.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 easies. It's a very handy way to not be nervous either. I used to travel with my mic stand in my carry-on, and it very much looks like a weapon. So they always would stop me before I had pre-check, and they would just go through my whole ass bag. And it was before I think people really knew what vapes were. You've seen them, but they kind of still looked conspicuous or like nicotine vapes. So they I remember the TSA woman took it out and looked at it and put it back. I thought she was going to ask me what it was. But then she saw my TMJ retainer, which I had just taken out right before I got to the airport and threw it in the bag. And she was like, "You put that in your mouth?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it has metal in it. So maybe that flagged or something. I don't know. But I was like, "Yeah, I just threw it in there really quick. Stop judging me. Let me go." But my butt cheeks were mad clenched because I was afraid she was going to, make a deal about the vape. And I didn't. This was a long time ago. But yeah, it's just a good idea to bring some stuff that won't get flagged and just get through 1, 2, 3 easies, and then you can take all your edibles before your flight.
Yeah, it's also recommended that you don't take too many edibles before you get on the flight.
Oh yes, I just take that back. Don't listen to what I just said. My edibles are probably kicking in, so I said something dumb. Do not take all your edibles before your flight. Do not do that.
Just take your regular dosage for the flight.
I meant that like proverbially.
Yes, of course. 100. So, just maintain. You have to maintain because you don't want to draw attention to yourself for being too high or over medicated or too drunk or anything else on a flight because that could be, you just want to pass through peacefully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I've definitely taken too many edibles before a flight many times, and it's not. I don't recommend it. Not only is it like it's just physically uncomfortable. You won't feel good. Your body's already going through so much shit when you're flying. Edibles really fuck up your not fuck up, but they change your equilibrium. So I've felt really not well by taking too many edibles. Honestly, I just stick to. I take maybe at most 20 milligrams, but that's I also take a lot of edibles throughout my life and my tolerance is very high, but 20 is usually good. 20 will help me kind of chill. But again, if I take too many, I am believing that the plane is going to fly into the Bermuda Triangle. So
what's that noise? Yeah. What's that noise? Is there a gremlin?
Yeah, I am actually the Twilight Zone episode with William Shatner when I take too many gummies. But I meant that more as when you clear the TSA, you can feel better about having your gummies. Just be chill, man. If you're going to a legal state, also you really don't need to travel with weed because you're going to be getting weed at that state. So why do it? You know what I mean? Why run the risk when it's federally illegal? What do you think is so when they reschedule? What happens? Because everybody's going to ask us that question.
If it's a Schedule 3, it's still on the list, but it has medical value. So I would think it would be traveling with a pill jar full of Advil.
Interesting. That'll be interesting to see how that changes things up.
I think that's how it's going to go. It would be just like flying with your meds or flying with anything else. Aspirin.
Yeah, it'll be rescheduled. It'll be technically, it's not a complete controlled substance that is prohibited. So yeah, we'll find out. As of right this second, though, it's not rescheduled. It's still federally illegal and not legal in some states. So if you, like me, are traveling through the South, I wouldn't even try to be discreet. I would just not have it on me. I would not move the bag that it was in. I would not try to sneak a vape in. I would not try to take edibles. And if I did, it would be inside of me and there would be no container indicating that I had edibles on me. If I was in a state that was completely illegal, I wouldn't want my car to smell like it and I wouldn't want to be caught with it. So that is my official advice on that. But if you're going to a legal state and you're in a legal state, just know your local rules and be discreet about where you are. If you're going to stay in a hotel, chances are you can't smoke in that hotel like that. But maybe you can smoke in the parking lot.
If you do have to travel to a state where it is not legal, you want to invest in a locked box, smell-proof containers, and then go ahead and put that in a trunk, someplace locked. And don't smoke in your car.
Definitely don't smoke in your car because in many of these states that is probable cause. I tend to just look up every time I enter a new state when I'm driving, I look up what probable cause is, and usually it is that if a cop can smell weed, he can search your car. So I just rather not risk it at all. If I'm going to have weed on me when I travel through these places, it will be a very, very small amount as well. I would recommend if you have to travel with weed, don't do it with a pound. Do it with a very little amount so it looks like it's just for you because it is. And put it in a lockbox, put it in a smell-proof box. Those are easy to get. Smell-proof bags are really easy to get too. Mylar bags are usually if you layer them on top of each other, you can achieve smell-proof. But just like have it, or you can vacuum seal. You can do a lot of things that will keep you safe when you are traveling with your weed, if you must. There's no reason to bring extra rudeness to the table. Like everybody's going to be fucking rude this holiday season. So whatever we can do as stoners to help people bridge the gap between fucking whatever and whatever. What we can agree on is smoking weed at Thanksgiving is fucking lit. And and if we can do it safely and not going to get in trouble with the local law enforcement or our cranky family member who doesn't like weed, we don't want to do that. We want to have a great stoner holiday.
100.
And I think that's it, right? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's not even like the week of Thanksgiving. I don't think it's next week. But I was going to say like happy Thanksgiving, whatever. So we'll see you next week, like normal. Everything will be normal. We're okay. And don't panic.
It's organic.